One of the most important things we can do for the people we love and for ourselves is simply to pay attention. Not just to the big moments, but to the quiet, in-between ones. Because sometimes, the most telling signs aren't loud or dramatic. They're the small things, the way someone's eyes search a familiar room like it's new to them, or how they suddenly hesitate before stepping off a curb they've crossed 1,000 times. We've talked about memory lapses that go beyond normal forgetfulness, the struggle with everyday tasks, shifts in mood and personality, and changes in conversation and judgment. Now, let's talk about one last sign, one that often quietly ties all the others together. Withdrawing from social life. Think about the people you love most. What makes them them? Maybe it's your sister's weekly card games with friends, or your husband's eagerness to chat with neighbors on his morning walk. When someone starts pulling away from these routines, not because they want to, but because they're struggling to keep up, it's one of the most heartbreaking signs to witness. I was talking to my neighbor, Margaret, the other day, wonderful woman, just turned 65, and she said something that really stuck with me. She said, "I worked hard my whole life, saved what I could, but now it feels like my money is disappearing faster than ever." And honestly, she's not alone. If you're over 62, there's a good chance you're getting poorer every year without even realizing it. But here's the good news, it doesn't have to be that way. Today, we're going to talk about 7 financial traps that could be draining your savings, and, more importantly, how you can avoid them. Now, I know talking about money can feel overwhelming, especially when you're supposed to be enjoying your golden years. But think of this like a friendly chat over coffee, no complicated jargon, just real, practical advice. Because here's the truth, some of these traps are so sneaky, you might not even notice them until it's too late. But once you know what to look for, you can protect yourself and maybe even put some money back in your pocket. Let's start with the first trap, and this one catches so many people off guard. It's something called fixed income erosion. Now, that might sound fancy, but here's what it really means. If you're living on a fixed income, maybe Social Security, a pension, or savings, inflation is quietly eating away at your buying power every single year. Think about it. The price of groceries, prescriptions, even a cup of coffee, they all go up over time. But if your income stays the same, you're effectively getting poorer, even if the numbers in your bank account look okay. Margaret told me she used to budget $150 a week for groceries. Now, that same cart costs her over $200. And her medication? The copay went up 30% in just 2 years. So what can you do? First, don't just accept your fixed income as, fixed. Look into cost of living adjustments. Some pensions and even Social Security offer them. If you're relying heavily on savings, talk to a financial advisor about inflation-protected investments, like Treasury inflation-protected securities, TIPS for short. They're designed to help your money keep up with rising prices. Asterisk. And here's something else you can do right now, review your monthly expenses. Are there subscriptions you forgot about? A cable package you don't really use? Even small savings add up and give you a little more breathing room. Asterisk now, the second trap is one I've seen hurt too many good people, high-fee financial advice. Maybe you've got a financial advisor, or you're thinking of hiring one. That's great. But some advisors charge fees that are downright predatory, especially for retirees. Hidden commissions, high management fees, they might not seem like much at first, but over 10 or 20 years, they can drain hundreds of thousands from your nest egg. Asterisk. Here's what to watch for. If your advisor is pushing products with high load fees or charges more than 1% in annual fees, it's time to ask questions. A good rule of thumb? Look for a fee-only fiduciary. That's a fancy way of saying they're legally required to put your interests first, not their commission. And don't be afraid to shop around. Your retirement is too important to leave in the wrong hands. Asterisk. Now, before we move on, I want you to think about this. Just being aware of these traps puts you ahead of the game. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your money. So let's keep going. Next, we'll talk about a trap that's costing many seniors their hard-earned savings without them even realizing it. You know, when I first started researching this topic, one thing really surprised me: how many retirees fall into financial traps simply because they don't realize they exist. It's like walking through a minefield blindfolded. But once you know where the dangers are, you can step right around them. So let's keep going and uncover a few more of these hidden pitfalls, because your retirement should be about peace of mind, not financial stress. Alright, let's talk about trap number 3, the Medicare gap. Now, Medicare is a lifesaver, literally. But here's what nobody tells you up front: it doesn't cover everything. And if you don't plan for those gaps, you could be facing thousands of dollars in unexpected medical bills every year. I've seen folks dip into their savings just to cover prescriptions, dental work, or long-term care, things Medicare barely touches. Take my friend, Carl. He thought Medicare had him fully covered until he needed a root canal. Turns out, Medicare doesn't cover most dental work. That $2,000 bill? Straight out of his pocket. And prescriptions? Part D helps, but if you're on expensive medications, the donut hole can leave you paying way more than you expected. So what's the solution? First, get familiar with what Medicare doesn't cover. Then, look into supplemental insurance. Medigap or Medicare Advantage plans can help fill those gaps. And here's a pro tip: review your plan every year during the open enrollment period. Needs change, and so do plans. You might find better coverage for less money. Now, let's move on to trap number 4, the scam epidemic. This one makes me angry because it targets some of the most trusting people, seniors. Scammers know retirees often have savings, own their homes, and may not be as tech-savvy. And they're getting sneakier every year. Fake IRS calls, grandparent scams, even fraudulent investment schemes, they're all designed to steal your money before you realize what's happening. Just last month, a sweet woman in my book club almost wired $5,000 to a scammer pretending to be her grandson. He said he was in jail and needed bail money. Sound familiar? Thankfully, she called her daughter first. But not everyone catches it in time. In fact, seniors lose an estimated $3 billion a year to financial fraud. Here's how you protect yourself. First, if anyone pressures you to act immediately, whether it's a phone call, email, or even a door-to-door salesman, that's a huge red flag. Slow down. Call a trusted family member or friend. Second, never give out personal information like your social security number or bank details over the phone. And third, register for the National Do Not Call Registry. It won't stop all scams, but it cuts down on unwanted calls. Now, let's talk about trap number 5, the helpful family money drain. This one's tough because it comes from a place of love. Maybe your grandson needs help with student loans. Or your daughter's going through a divorce and needs temporary support. It's natural to want to help, but when temporary turns into years and your savings start shrinking, it's a problem. I'll never forget a viewer named Linda who emailed me. She'd been helping her son with his mortgage for 5 years until she realized she'd drained half her retirement fund. She told me, "I didn't want to say no, but now I'm terrified I'll run out of money." Heartbreaking, right? Here's the thing: you can love your family and protect your future. If you're going to help financially, set clear boundaries. Make it a loan with a repayment plan, even if it's just symbolic. Or offer non-financial support instead, like childcare or advice. And if you're feeling guilty, remember, running out of money helps no one. Your financial security matters too. Now, we've covered a lot today: Medicare gaps, scams, and family financial traps. But there are still a couple more big ones we need to talk about. So in the next part, we'll dive into the final 2 traps, including one that could be silently shrinking your savings right now. You know, as we've been talking through these financial traps, I keep thinking about something my dad used to say: getting old isn't for the faint of heart. And he was right. Retirement brings its own set of challenges. But here's what I want you to remember: every single one of these traps, they're avoidable. You don't have to watch your savings disappear. So let's finish strong with the last two pitfalls, and more importantly, how you can steer clear of them for good. Alright, trap number 6 is one that doesn't get talked about enough, the tax time bomb. Now, you might think taxes get simpler in retirement, but for many folks, they actually get trickier. Between Social Security taxes, required minimum distributions from retirement accounts, and unexpected state taxes, you could end up paying way more than you planned, unless you're strategic. Asterisk, here's a real-life example. A couple I know, let's call them Bob and Susan, had a comfortable nest egg spread across IRAs and a pension. But when Bob turned 72, they got hit with a huge tax bill because of required minimum distributions. Suddenly, their Medicare premiums went up, and a chunk of their Social Security became taxable too. It felt like dominoes falling, one financial hit after another. Asterisk. So how do you defuse this bomb? First, understand how different income sources are taxed. Did you know that if your combined income passes a certain threshold, up to 85% of your Social Security becomes taxable? Second, consider Roth conversions before you hit RMD age. Paying taxes now might save you more later. And third, always work with a tax-savvy financial planner as you approach retirement milestones. A few smart moves today could save you thousands down the road. Asterisk. Now, let's talk about the last trap, and this one's particularly insidious because it's not about money at all. It's about the complacency trap. After decades of working hard, you deserve to relax. But retirement isn't a set-it-and-forget-it phase of life. If you're not periodically checking in on your finances, small leaks can turn into floods. Think of your retirement savings like this little plant here. If I ignore it, never check the soil, never water it, it might look okay for a while. But one day, I'll wake up to find it withered beyond repair. Your finances work the same way. That investment that seemed solid 5 years ago might need adjusting. The insurance policy you've had forever could be draining money for coverage you don't even need anymore. Here's your action plan. Pick one day each year, maybe your birthday or the new year, to do a full financial checkup. Review all your accounts, insurance policies, and beneficiaries. Ask yourself 3 questions. Is this still working for me? Could I get a better deal elsewhere? And most importantly, does this still align with my goals? Now, we've covered a lot today, from inflation's silent erosion to tax surprises and the danger of complacency. But here's what I really want you to take away: you have more control than you think. Every single one of these traps can be avoided or minimized with a little knowledge and proactive planning. So start small. Pick just one thing we talked about today, maybe reviewing your Medicare coverage or checking those investment fees, and take action this week. Because your retirement should be about freedom, not financial stress. And you've worked too hard to let hidden traps steal your peace of mind. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which of these traps surprised you the most? Have you encountered any of them in your own life? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else avoid a costly mistake. And if you found this video helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe for more straightforward advice on making the most of your retirement. From all of us here, thank you for watching, and here's to your financial peace of mind.